Is this movie ashamed of its title or something? Seriously, in all of the marketing of this movie, they never showed the title. In none of the trailers or the TV spots, even the official US poster, no title. And even the beginning of the movie itself. The cold open happens and then instead of a title, we just get that logo. Yeah, that's it. So without looking it up on the internet, you just won't know what this movie's called. I don't get it because this movie has a pretty sweet title. Jurassic World Dominion. See? Pretty sweet, right? So Jurassic World Dominion is the 6th movie in Universal's huge Jurassic franchise, or at least it's trying to be huge. Or you could see this movie as the 3rd in the Jurassic World trilogy, because people do kind of see them as separate. You know, you have your Jurassic Park trilogy, and then you have your Jurassic World trilogy. But this is supposedly the final Jurassic movie. It's the conclusion of the Jurassic era, thus saith the official US poster. Until there's another one in plus minus 10 years. Alright, so after the events of the previous movie, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, dinosaurs are now living in our natural world, and so now people have to deal with that. I want to say that is the actual premise of this movie because that's really interesting. But that's actually not the case. The real synopsis is Blue, the velociraptor we know from the last 2 movies. She has a baby, but the baby gets kidnapped. So Owen Grady, once again played by Chris Pratt, and Claire Dearing, once again played by Bryce Dallas Howard, have to go on this rescue mission. And also we have legacy characters coming back, Laura Dern as Ellie Sattler, Sam Neill as Alan Grant, Jeff Goldblum once again as Ian Malcolm. They have their own mission to do. Oh, and there are dinosaurs in the world. Yeah, that's a thing. Really, the whole concept of dinosaurs living freely in our world feels like a background element of this movie. Which sucks because, again, that's really interesting. This movie pushes that off to the side for this much less interesting story revolving around these human characters. And I'll let you know right now, this is a problem I've had with all the Jurassic movies, even the first one. The human characters were never that interesting to me. If I could sidetrack for a second, the first movie, yeah, it was lightning in a bottle because it showed audiences something they've never seen before. So it struck gold, because it was more about the cool dinosaurs than it was about the characters. So it did what it needed to do, and it did it really well. After that, the sequels didn't have much to work with because they didn't have well-established characters to expand upon. It was just, ooh, more dinosaurs, but by that point, we've already seen dinosaurs. So that's my theory on why they were not as well received as the first one. It's gotta be all about the characters, you know? And in this movie, it does continue that tradition of the characters not being that interesting. I mean, Chris Pratt is fun to watch, he has that star quality about him, but honestly, it actually doesn't feel like he has as much screen time in this one as he did in the previous installments, because this movie does have a lot of focus on the legacy characters coming back. And I will say, Sam Neill, Laura Dern, they were fine. It did feel good to see them on the big screen. For me, it was the first time because I never saw the first one in theaters. But I'm sure longtime fans will get a kick out of it. I like Jeff Goldblum in this movie because he's Jeff Goldblum and he always brings that awkward Goldblumness to everything he does. That's just who he is. I love watching it. I'm not bored by it yet or irritated. And he actually had some pretty good lines in the movie too. Some good moments with him. Yeah. But I have got to give all sorts of props to Isabella Sermon. She plays Maisie, the clone girl, Lockwood, from the previous movie. She actually ended up being my favorite character in the movie. I thought she was great. Her acting was, really good. Surprisingly so, even. There were a few moments with her where I was like, all right, I see you. You're owning the scene right now. You're owning the movie. I want to see Isabella Sermon in more movies now because the only 2 movies she's ever been in were these Jurassic World movies. She is the standout here and I want to see her get more work. And I hope this movie doesn't end up being a hindrance to that. I say that because this movie is actually pretty convoluted and kinda boring. And I went into this movie going easy on it. I was like, okay, I know what this movie is. It's supposed to be a dumb, stupid dino romp. That's what the previous 2 Jurassic World movies were. But Dominion didn't really provide me with that. There are some fun dino action scenes, sure, but really it focuses way too much on this boring rescue mission plot with the uninteresting human characters. And I was sitting there watching it like, I remember Jurassic movies being more fun than this. And really, that's as simply as I can put it. I mean, like I just said, there were some fun dino action scenes. There were a few of them, but there's a problem with those too. Some of them were really cool, but some others, like this one for example, we saw in the trailer, that chase scene in Malta. Oh my god, the quick cuts and edits and the shaky cam, it was making me ill. I could barely keep up. I was like, alright, what's going on? Can we hold still? Can we have some cool crane shots? Can we do the Bond thing where it's just some wide shots throughout a city? No, we can't. This is what we get? Shit. That scene is supposed to be like a centerpiece action scene of the movie, but it ended up being one of the low points for me. and then there were some dino action scenes that were pretty entertaining. And the dinosaurs themselves, yeah, they're always cool. I'm still a kid in here, or at least I try to be. I will always love seeing dinosaurs on the big screen. And there were actually quite a few times throughout this movie where the dinosaurs were actually either animatronics or puppets, and I love that shit. I was like, yeah, these actors are interacting with real, tangible objects or animals or whatever you want to call them. They're puppets. They're interacting with something that's really there. I mean, of course, that wasn't always the case. The big dinosaurs or velociraptors, yeah, they're CG, and they do look good. It's good CG. But I do want to point out that throughout a lot of the movie, they are either animatronics or puppets. I think that's really cool. I mean, that has nothing to do with the overall plot of the movie or the execution of said plot, because like I said, the plot itself is pretty boring and not fun. It does get ridiculous though, and here's what I mean by that, because I know since the first movie they've all been ridiculous and unrealistic, but take the first Jurassic World movie, right? It ended with a big T-Rex versus Indominus Rex fight, and I was like, alright, this is cool because this is what predators do in the wild. When two alpha females see each other, guess what? They're gonna butt heads. So I could buy that in Jurassic World. But in this one, Jurassic World Dominion, the ridiculousness gets to a whole new level. This shit, I was like, okay, the director, Colin Trevorrow, he must have dreamed this up when he was 6 years old, and he's like, I'm gonna put that in a movie one day, just you wait and see. And watching this, okay, yeah, the tiniest lizard part of my brain was like, oh, cool, all right, that's awesome. But I guess the more mature part of me was like, this is so ridiculous, it's pretty much a cartoon. Whether you want to see that as a good or a bad thing, well, that's up to you. But I felt it necessary to inform you. As for the score, once again, it was done by Michael Giacchino, the man himself. And it was pretty good. Not only did it bring in previous themes from both trilogies, that timeless John Williams theme never gets old, but it also did bring in new themes, like brand new themes for this movie. And I thought they were pretty good. Pretty good score in this one. Again, has nothing to do with the overall plot or the execution of said plot. I'm just trying to find anything to give praise to in this movie. I feel like I want to defend it. I want to be like, well, Isabella Sermon was really good. The dinosaurs were really cool when they were on screen. The animatronics and puppets, they were great. The score was good. But in the end, story and characters come first. And in the end, the story and the characters both bored me for the most part. Jurassic World Dominion focused way too much on the uninteresting shit when you have such a neat premise of dinosaurs living in our world. That is so cool. Like, you remember that short they put out a couple years back, Battle at Big Rock? That was awesome. That was a family camping and all of a sudden dinosaurs. What to do? I felt like, okay, Jurassic World Dominion could be like that, but no. In the end, Jurassic World Dominion is my least favorite of the Jurassic World trilogy. It's a pretty big step down, and that's a bummer because this is supposed to be like one of the big movies of the summer. Oh well, can't win them all, I guess. For Jurassic World Dominion, I will say, wait until you can stream this movie online. But seriously, I do hope Isabella Sermon gets more work, because she's fantastic. So, Jurassic World Dominion. Have you seen it yet? What do you think about it? And what's your favorite film in the Jurassic World trilogy or the entire Jurassic cinematic franchise? Jurassic Park, The Lost World Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Dominion. Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Peace.